Hello, and thanks for joining us for Volusia Magazine, a public information TV program brought to you by Volusia County Government. I'm Joanne Magley. On today's program, Business Beat reporter Michelle Coates will tell us about the growing popularity of motorcycle riding among women. We'll get a health update from Stephanie Strong from the Volusia County Health Department, and later, Community Information Director Dave Byron will talk in depth with his studio guest, Amber Patterson, from DeBary Hall Historic Site. Those stories, news, and more coming up on Volusia Magazine. The Volusia County Beach Patrol hit the sand recently with two new Utility Task Vehicles, or UTVs. The UTVs, each of which cost $15,000 fully equipped, were custom designed to meet the needs of Beach Patrol officers. Larger than all-terrain vehicles, but smaller than a truck, the UTVs can hold a backboard and surfboard for use in ocean rescues. The vehicles offer versatility in crowded areas and improved visibility for the officers. They also make Beach Patrol officers more accessible to the public.
As you know, our beach services personnel, or the majority of our beach services personnel, are trained in law enforcement, emergency medical services, as well as ocean rescue. So we will equip these vehicles to handle all of these functions that they do. And we know that just through some previous testing that they're going to be much more versatile, particularly in the core areas, the more crowded areas on the beach.
The county has two of the vehicles, one with 4 wheels and the other slightly larger with 6 wheels. There are plans to purchase 8 more UTVs in the coming month after officials determine which best work for their needs. The UTVs have to be as versatile as the county's Beach Patrol officers because the full-time county personnel that work on the beach are one of the few agencies in the world where their personnel are triple certified. County Beach Patrol officers are certified law enforcement officers, emergency medical technicians, and lifeguards. Therefore, their vehicles have to be equipped to accommodate the duties of all 3 jobs. More than 100 people turned out for the recent dedication of Michael Crotty Bicentennial Park in Ormond by the Sea. Previously known as Bicentennial Park, the county-owned park covers 40 acres stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to Halifax River. The Volusia County Council voted to name the park after Michael Crotty, a prominent area attorney and community volunteer who passed away in 2010.
It's our honor as a council to name a property in a park after someone. And it's, the reasons are is because they've laid the foundation that this community's been built upon. So when you rename a park, a structure, it's also part of that foundation. I think it's a good example of people in our community that want to do the right thing. It's really putting in those extra hours in the community and helping those around us. And I think it's dedication like that the council appreciates.
Michael Crotty Bicentennial Park is one of the jewels of Volusia County's park system. It features a baseball field, an open play area, basketball court, tennis and racquetball courts, a fishing dock and boardwalk, pavilion and picnic area, community building and restrooms, and a popular dog park opened there in October to give our canine friends a place to romp and roll. For more information about Volusia County parks, please visit volusia.org/parks. Did you receive a Nook or Kindle for Christmas and you want to learn how to use it? 4 Volusia County libraries will offer free programs this month showing residents how to use their new e-readers and how to download eBooks free from the library. These programs will be offered January 12th in Port Orange, January 13th in Deltona, January 25th in Daytona Beach, and January 27th in DeBary. Didn't catch those dates? Visit volusialibrary.org and click on branches. Go to the branch you're interested in. Volusia County's 13 public library branches are keeping pace with changing technology to serve their patrons.
Well, last year we had more than 2.6 million virtual visitors to the library, meaning that they accessed library services via our web page or via our Facebook page or directly into our online catalog to utilize services from home, from their office, from school. We also have public access computers in the libraries, and we had more than 500,000 computer sessions this past year. And along with that, we have wireless connections in all of our library facilities. And at any given time during the hours that the libraries are open, we have upwards of 100 users in the libraries using their own devices to access the internet via our wireless network.
Library patrons can reserve books online and browse the library's collection of books, audiobooks, music, DVDs, magazines, government documents, and reference materials from their home computers. The libraries also offer access to 81 databases that cover a wide range of subjects, including agriculture, economics, genealogy, and home improvement. Nearly 3.5 million people visited Volusia County's public libraries and checked out more than 4.3 million items last year. During that same time period, the libraries offered more than 4,000 programs that drew more than 100,000 people. Check out the happenings at your local library by visiting volusialibrary.org.
Hi, I'm Volusia County Chair Frank Bruno, and you could be a hometown hero by helping the Ocean Center to attract conventions and trade shows. If you belong to a professional organization, we're asking you to bring a meeting home. Be a hometown hero and recommend the Ocean Center for your next meeting or convention. Call Lori Hunter at 386-254-4500 with your meeting tips.
Now we join Michelle Coates for the Business Beat at Roar Motorcycles for Women.
Hi, Michelle Coates with the Business Beat. Today we're here at the home of Roar Motorcycles for Women, which caters to the fastest growing segment of the motorcycle industry, women.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
The Motorcycle Industry Council found in a 2008 owner survey that women accounted for about 12% of motorcycle ownership in the United States, up from 9.6% in 2003. And women accounted for 23%, or 5.7 million, of the 25 million Americans who rode a motorcycle in 2008. Yet few businesses appear to be catering to this growing group of adventure-seeking women. Kathy Tollison, CEO of Roar Motorcycles for Women, is out to change that.
Roar is a motorcycle company that was established to help service the needs of women. Women are the fastest growing segment in the motorcycle industry.
The whole experience from buying it to learning how to ride it has been completely different than anything that I've ever done before.
We do customization, we do fitting. We also have designed a motorcycle just for women that we want to move into manufacturing, and we sell gear and everything just strictly for women.
My friend Steve, who initially was rather opposed to my coming to Roar, he said, just buy a bike. Met them, and he said, oh my God, these people really are different.
Many of us who live here in the heart of Bike Week know that stereotypical image of the hardened male road warrior with the tattoos and long hair is definitely changing. We're seeing a softer, edgy female version developing also. Women who have good jobs, marriages, education, and sophistication are venturing into the sport of motorcycling and discovering the lure of the highway.
Average age of a female rider is 42. Our demographics tend to run from like 45 to 65. We've had as old as first-time riders as 73. They're well educated. The average woman rider has at least 2 years of college.
According to the Motorcycle Industry Council, 56.7% of women motorcyclists are married, 28% have a college or postgraduate degree, and 35% of women motorcyclists hold a technical or professional job. For Tollison, motorcycles are an empowering symbol of freedom and adventure.
Part of my philosophy developed from childhood because I had a father who empowered me. I've taken that into Roar. It's always been something that, you know, I've had a heart to do. And so I always tell even my team, I said, we don't just sell motorcycles, we empower women.
Linda Linda is going to unwrap her bike, and I'll tell you, I will almost guarantee that she's going to cry.
Oh my. Oh, is this comfortable?
The Roar staff of 7 includes a top-notch mechanic that worked with the Suzuki race team and happens to be a woman. The team prides themselves on making the Roar experience an exceptional one.
When women come to Roar, it's like a totally different experience. It's not just our motorcycles, it's our showroom. We have more of a boutique feel in our showroom. You're going to find that we really pamper you. We really take care of you. We don't only sell them bikes. We support them in the entire process. We're really champions of women.
Roar is about more than motorcycles and bike accessories. It's a place where women share stories, learn and laugh, and together make a difference.
Being a female rider on a motorcycle, very independent. It's very exciting, very liberating. You feel like you can do anything.
A portion of every membership in the Roar Sisterhood goes to support the Roar Global Foundation, which strives to reach oppressed women of the world through educational and entrepreneurial opportunities. Recently, the Roar Foundation purchased a moped to be used by the Destiny School, which houses 700 children in Uganda. Mopeds are the main form of transportation in Uganda and offers the school staff its only transportation option. Women bikers looking for a custom fit should check out Roar Motorcycles. They truly do cater to women and their unique motorcycle needs.
The next step for Roar is mass production of its custom-designed motorcycle, the Wildcat. Thanks for joining us today on The Business Beat. I'm Michelle Coates.
Get your motor running.
Keeping hands clean through improved hand hygiene is one of the most important steps we can take to avoid getting sick and spreading germs to others. Many diseases and conditions are spread not by washing hands with soap and clean running water. Public Information Officer Stephanie Strong introduces you to the Health Department's hygiene expert, Susan Grubbs, who offers some valuable tips on how to keep those hands clean in this segment of Community Health Matters.
At a typical playground like this one, you'll find the swings, the slide, maybe even a park bench. But there's also something else lurking around environments like this. You can't see them, but they are everywhere. Germs. Parents, make sure you teach your preschoolers all about germs and why they can be very bad.
Germs are all around us, and there are all kinds of germs, but especially cold, and we're coming right up on flu season. So small children can become very ill from the flu and even get hospitalized.
Health experts say some viruses and bacteria can live 2 hours or longer on surfaces like cafeteria tables, doorknobs, and desks. Poor hand-washing practices are a major reason why colds spread within a school setting. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, approximately 22 million school days are lost each year due to the common cold. 36,000 people die from pneumonia due to flu and flu-like illness each year. 52 million cases of the common cold affect Americans under the age of 17 years old each year.
Always wash your hands after coming in from the playground, before you eat, and after using the restroom, and especially after handling pets or coughing or sneezing.
Always remind children to cover their nose and mouth with a tissue when they cough or sneeze. Have them throw the tissue away after they use it. Wash their hands often with soap and water, especially after they cough or sneeze. Remind them to not touch their eyes, nose, or mouth. Germs often spread this way.
To properly wash our hands, we want to turn on warm running water, as warm as we can stand it. Then we want to add soap. We want to pay special attention to the backs of our hands, and in between our fingers, we're going to rinse them off. What that rinsing does is wash those bacteria and viruses down the drain.
Environmental health expert Susie Grubb says parents should read to their children. It's a great way to teach the value of proper hand washing. Here's an excerpt from Impatient Pamela.
Wow, Mom, germs are clever creatures. Yes, they are, but if you wash your hands after you go to the bathroom and before you eat, you'll usually be okay.
For more information about hand washing, there are a number of web resources such as www.cdc.gov/cleanhands, www.cleaning101.com, www.henrythehand.com, and www.volusiahealth.com. To have Susie Grubb speak at your school, please call 386-274-0695. For Volusia Magazine and on behalf of the Volusia County Health Department, your guide to better health, I'm Stephanie Strong.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, log on to volusiahealth.com. Now let's join Community Information Director Dave Byron in the studio to talk about the DeBary Hall Historic Site with Site Manager Amber Patterson.
Well, thank you, Joanne, and Happy New Year, everyone. You know, DeBary Hall in southwest Volusia County is a history showcase of what life was like in the steamboat days of the St. Johns River. The one-time winter mansion of New York wine importer Frederick DeBary, DeBary Hall is a historic site managed by Volusia County's Parks, Recreation, and Culture Division. With so many people in the area, we thought this would be a great time to talk about what's going on at DeBary Hall. And we're very pleased to have with us Amber Patterson. She's the DeBary Hall manager. Amber, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, for people who recognize your face, you help us out here on Volusia Magazine.
Sure do. I love doing that.
But your real day job is the manager at DeBary Hall. Hey, for those folks that have maybe new to the area, maybe visiting, don't know about DeBary Hall, how do you describe this facility?
Imagine a vacation estate for a New York wine importer in Florida Frontier. 1871, right after the Civil War. This place was great for people who are looking for some tourism, basically. We often refer to it as a historic site, but it's even more than that because it's under Parks, Recreation, and Culture, so it operates as a park 365 days a year. If you want to come out and just enjoy the trail or go picnicking on the site, you can do that anytime you want to. Sunrise to sunset, that is, not anytime. But also during our hours of operation, you can tour the beautiful mansion. We've referred to it as a mansion, but actually it was just one of his smaller houses at the time. There is just so much to do. There's a gift shop, and then we also have other exhibits on site too.
And if I'm not mistaken, back when DeBary owned the facility and was actually actively involved in it, it actually abutted the St. Johns River. His property did it not?
Oh yeah, he had over 6,000 acres just as recreational space. Can you imagine that big of a playground?
Right. I mean, he was quite a guy. Hey, I know that you know, there was a long period of multiple phased restoration projects going, I guess, way back to the 90s. Give us kind of a recap of how this restoration process took place, because in and of itself, it was quite a project.
It was a 10-year project, actually, and it still goes on, because as you can imagine, maintenance on a site like that is going to be never-ending. However, in 1991, the county entered into a lease agreement with the state of Florida, because after all, the state owns DeBary Hall. But the county manages it, has restored it, and the main portion of it, being that 8,000 square foot main house, is what took the majority of that 10 years of time. We're talking the floors needed to be refinished. There were holes you could see right straight through to the sky when you were inside.
Wow.
There were many, many leaks. A lot of the windows needed to be redone. And of course, this was all done according to the Secretary of Interior standards of restoration, so that we could maintain the site on the National Register of Historic Places. So what you see is the real deal.
And I remember during the restoration process itself, Amber, and we've talked about this a number of times, you tried to use and save and use as many of the original materials as possible, including those window panes and floor planks and a number of the original features of the house itself.
Yeah, a lot of people can't believe that the majority of what you see at DeBary Hall is all of the original pieces, all of the original wood, as much as the original glass as possible. But in those cases, if we have to replace any glass or anything like that, or anything basically on site, we look to an architectural salvage firm and we try to find pieces that are from the same time period to replace with. So the majority of it is as was when the DeBarys were here.
If I'm not mistaken, the last big piece of the restoration, I guess, was the barn, and that's now complete. What's in the future? I mean, what do we see in terms of where we're going to go with any more restoration down there?
Any more restoration, right? Well, you're right. The barn was an incredible project, and that is just, it's multi-use space. And so now we're looking at how we can use the rest of the site in the same vein as the barn. People like to be there, but of course it's got to be something that we can actually use. We can't just preserve it all as kind of this icon of time. So we're looking to restore the landscape so that people can use it for a variety of purposes, whether they want to do rentals for personal reasons, weddings or anniversaries or family reunions. We're also looking to make the rest of the site a little bit more family friendly. And so we're looking to add some playground equipment and things like that you'll see in the coming years of time.
And it's difficult to do that when you have to balance the historical integrity and the rules and regulations of a historic site versus you know, what you might want to do to be, I guess, a little bit more inclusive with all the public's wants and needs.
You're right. You're right. It's really kind of a strange marriage, if you will, the past and the present, trying to combine them together. Because, as you know, we use space entirely different than people during the Victorian era did, and our needs are different these days. And so, of course, you know, Victorians got along with things that we can't possibly live without. And so, you know, we're thinking about things like sanitation and electricity, but at the same time, you know, we want the place to look good too. And so we are in a very unique situation, though. We have pockets on site that we don't have to restore exactly. So we have little areas of things that we can do a little bit more with and bring it up to more modern day standards.
Amber, I know that one of the big attractions of DeBary Hall is your theater that you have down there, and you have a great historical movie of the St. Johns River, the history. Tell us about that.
The Imaginal Theater. Oh, it's one of my favorite projects out there. It's been open since October 2005. And many people, it's still new to them every time they see it. They learn something new when they see it. It's a ride film, a 15-minute long ride film, and it's designed as if you were invited as a guest of Frederick DeBary in the 1870s, and you were traveling from Jacksonville to come and visit Frederick DeBary and go hunting maybe at his estate. And so you get on board his boat, which is called the City of Jacksonville, and you would travel 13 hours on an overnight trip to arrive at DeBary Hall. It's 2 hours for us today. But then at that time it took a little bit longer. And along the way you see some nightlife and you see some animals, and there's some other docks and some stops, and there might be a little bit of trouble, but I don't want to give it away.
Well, DeBary himself, as I understand from listening to you and reading about DeBary, he was quite a guy. And he was, I guess, a champagne wine importer. And I think you know that he must have been quite a partier, because you can still find some bottles and some broken glass every now and then, can't you?
Indeed, indeed. When I talk about the landscape, if you look at pictures from when Frederick DeBary lived, or not lived, but vacationed at DeBary Hall, they would often line their flower beds with used champagne bottles, upturned champagne bottles. They would just sink them down into the ground, and that would divide the flower beds from the rest of the ground. And so every now and again, if we get a really strong rain or anything like that, champagne bottles will still come to the surface.
Unbelievable. Hey, I'm curious as to whether there are any members of the DeBary family still around.
There are some members, but not of the American line, the direct descendants. Fortunately, his last American heir died in 1941 in an airplane crash. Her name was Lady DeBary, and she was the last person to own DeBary Hall. However, there are members of the family that are still around, and they do contact us every now and again. In fact, one of Lady DeBary's relatives contacted us and donated back a cigarette case recently.
Really? Unbelievable. You know, one of the things that you know, you need and you're grateful to have is the support of a large number of interested volunteers, your support group. And you know, they provide an invaluable service to the county.
We do. Without volunteers, we couldn't get it done. In fact, we have so many different things that people can do. So we really have a lot of different areas for different skill levels and talents, so people can really get involved at DeBary Hall. We do multiple events throughout the year, so people who just want to get involved just here and there on different projects are more than welcome to sign on to a committee for an event. Or we have tour guides, and we use a lot of volunteers to give tours at DeBary Hall, and then all the trainings included, and a little perks here and there. We also have people who do outreaches for children and things like that, and we often go do grassroots promotion at festivals, and so you often see a DeBary Hall exhibit at, say, Riverfest or the Volusia County Fair or something like that, and we use volunteers to reach out to people and let them know DeBary Hall's there, and it's not just a museum.
For those folks that may want to come by, or some of the things you've got going on, what's going on down there? What can people avail themselves of?
We've got our Lemonade Lecture Series, which is starting back up in February, and that has been tremendously popular. Saturday afternoons at 2 p.m. Variety of different topics that are really interesting. We've also, if people check our website, which is DeBaryHall.com, they'll find that we have a landscape series coming up, which is given by a master gardener here in the area. So we have a variety of other things coming up. We're partnering with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission to do hunter safety courses, because it was a hunting lodge after all. So there's a lot of things that people can get involved in.
And I guess you got a movie coming out.
We do. I'm glad you asked about that. Tooth Fairy 2 is coming out at the beginning of the year, too.
Yeah, and that was filmed in part at DeBary Hall. That was a lot of fun with Larry the Cable Guy down there.
Oh, a lot of fun and a lot of mischief, let me tell you.
Well, Amber, I want to thank you for sharing the information. DeBary Hall, again, one of the facilities operated by Volusia County government, and a real success story. So for people that haven't been there, it's a great way to spend some time. And I guess you can go to Gemini Springs Park, which is literally right across the street. So
yeah, a lot of people do that. They make a day of it. It's nice.
Amber, thank you very much for being with us in this part of Volusia Magazine. Normally you have another part, so thanks for sharing your information with us.
Thank you. Thanks much.
Our guest, Amber Patterson, she's the DeBary Hall manager. And with that, Joanne, we'll go back to you.
Well, that's it for this edition of Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed on the screen. You can also watch Volusia Magazine online. Just visit volusia.org and click on the Volusia Magazine icon at the bottom of the homepage. And don't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public information radio show, which airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio station you see listed on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Joanne Magley.